The song is over. Hello, everyone. We're here. What's up, Gay Fesh? Have fun at the movies. Decoy Duck. Hello, Mama Mephistoles. Hi. Zypation scheduled an induction. Yeah, well, good luck with that. That sounds like you're getting to a point of frustration. As I understand it, being pregnant for a really long time is problématique. What's up to the YouTube chat as well? There's a bunch of people over there. If y'all over in the YouTube chat don't know, this chat over here is actually my website. It's not Twitch. So if you want to come on over to luxander.net/live, you got custom emojis. Google doesn't take 30 to 40% of your donations if you donate through the website. It's all good. It's good stuff. Yes. Enjoy your dicks. Katie driving and listening. Yes. Glad to have you both here. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, how are y'all doing today? As well as can be expected in the throes of late-stage capitalism. Truly. It's been such a weird week. Oh my gosh. I had therapy this morning. So listen, I'm so glad that you're here to talk about James Somerton. We're gonna mess around for like the first hour of the show, at least, before we get into talking about the news. So if you are not willing to tolerate random tranny talking about whatever the hell it wants to, then, you know, I'll see you in an hour. What's up, Jackie Sins? Thank you so much for the $1 super chat. I appreciate you. Look at that. One in the bucket. Plink. Number go up. Donation button go up. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, today, I'm here to chill because previously on my show, we just talk about negative trans politics news. And listen, girl, I have negative trans politics news. Okay, but today we're gonna just kind of not talk about it. Random trainings on my people. True. I'm gonna be doing cardio today. So I've been trying to do, I think the term is body recomposition. I'm trying to lose a little bit of fat and then I want to put back on muscle. And I've been like, oh my God, why is it not going as fast as I want it to go? And then I learned that, I realized that I've actually been messing up my fast because I've been doing intermittent fasting. The concept is like your body starts burning fat more after you have been fasting for like 14 hours. So if you finish dinner at like 8 p.m. and then you don't eat again until 8 a.m., that's a 12-hour fast. So if you extend that out to 14 or 16 hours, you burn more fat, right? But I drink coffee in the morning and I was using creamer. That it's like I was using too much creamer and I've been, without realizing it, breaking my fast. So what's up, Junebug? Hello. So I already decided I'm switching to a bulk. I'm sorry, isn't intermittent fasting just an eating disorder? No. No, it isn't. It's a dietary choice. I'm sure that people can do that in a way that is harmful. Like there's all kinds of behaviors that can be disordered. But if you're only doing it like a couple days a week, and if you're still eating a normal number of calories, but just in an 8-hour window of the day, instead of like a 16-hour window of the day, it's not an eating disorder. I don't have one of those. I don't have that problem, thankfully. It's not something that is part of my experience. But, yeah, I mean, sure. I think that people who do intense dieting, we tend to have this, like, you know, this fear that they're doing something disordered. And, like, I get it. It makes sense. But, you know, I'm trying to do things, like, in a way that it's safe for me and all this stuff. Technically speaking, for my dysautonomia problem, I should eat, like, tiny meals throughout the day. But I, hair in my mouth. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Gallstones. Apparently, certain people who have a propensity for gallstones can have, it gets worse on intermittent fasting. Yeah, having a diet to put weight on. That's kind of what you do in a bulk. I'm a person who's like getting a little bit into health and fitness and stuff. I'm not trying to be annoying about it, and I'm not trying to make my content about that per se, but it's like I have goals, okay? And those goals are often, I want to look a certain way. I want to look muscular. I want to be able to see my abs. You know what I mean? I want to have big up top. Ooh. I want to have big fucking latissimus dorsi. It's hard to plan proper mini meals. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, technically speaking, for a lot of people, it's best to like eat a little bit throughout the day. But yeah. I just thought it was funny that I've been trying super hard to commit to this fasting, and I just was fucking it up by drinking coffee in the morning. Too much creamer, too much dairy. The creamer that I use, it's like 1 tablespoon is 35. Your diet dreams are a part of your homesteading dreams, so it works out. Really? Like in the sense that you end up working all day and not eating? Too much cream. True. I was learning recently about the medieval diet. Like, what did people eat in medieval times? Or even more recently, up to like the 1800s. It was like you'd have maybe some bread and cheese and beer in the morning. And then dinner was like the lunchtime, what we would call lunch. They were calling dinner. And that was their big meal of the day. That was when they would really load up on their meat, like dinner, quote unquote, which we would have at lunchtime. That was the big meal. And then supper was sort of a light meal before bed, which again might just basically be bread and cheese. Cool stuff. A long time ago, I tried being on a vegan diet for a year. It was great for losing weight, but not for maintaining muscle. That's the difficulty, is how do you maintain the proteins? Fun story, they apparently did have coconuts in medieval England. So the from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, period accurate. I did get a lot of gallstones and lost my gallbladder after a year of intermittent fasting. I was eating less than 1,500 calories per day and bulimia altogether. One of those probably affected me more than the others, though. Yeah. I don't know what a gallbladder is or what it does. Hit the like button if you also don't know what a gallbladder is or what it does. I just know that one of my family members had to have a gallbladder removal. Yeah, it bladders your galls. Yeah, that's my bad. It's super warm in here. I wasn't planning on taking off my hoodie, but the gallbladder is kind of important. I mean, I'm assuming that basically all of your organs are important. They all serve some kind of purpose, right? Demon Mama had to have hers removed when she went on a keto diet. I don't know what a spleen is or what it does, but it can rupture pretty easily. Yeah, so gallbladder makes bile for digestion. Interesting. But yeah, I don't really pay close attention to what I eat. Like, I still try to eat normally, but I was just doing intermittent fasting for a period of time. And then I'm only going to do it on the days where I'm not working out. So I think that, any kind of diet, diet or exercise, you're literally not supposed to do it every day. So, take everything in moderation. Gallbladder stores bile salts for digesting fats. The liver makes them, but the gallbladder is storage. Okay. It's crazy. I feel like I could breathe just fine, and then I start stream and start talking, and I'm immediately like I can't breathe. My nose is often kind of plugged up. Oh my god, yeah. It's too warm in here for me to keep the hoodie on right now. Gotta be careful not to show off the arms before we hit the stream goal. When you eat fatty foods or certain kinds of foods, it secretes bile into your stomach. Gallstones are little crystals that form in your gallbladder, and when they get stuck, it sucks. It's super painful. Okay. What's up, Tori? I started HRT and diabetes management about the same time 15 months ago. It's been nearly impossible to lose weight even though I halved my A1C. Yeah, and I'm on estrogen right now, so like losing weight is kind of hard. So, yeah, estrogen, how dare you? It's so funny too. Like I'm feeling like short of breath, and it's like this doesn't happen any other time that I'm talking. It's only on the show that I've noticed this. Oxygen starved. Every time I go to the doctor, they're like, your oxygen level looks fine, so trying not to be weirdly concerned about it. In like 3 months, I lost 15 pounds on Ozempic. Yeah, I, you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like taking medicines to lose weight. If you're taking a thyroid medicine, is that what Ozempic is? Or is that like a diabetes management thing? I also get out of breath when I'm recording, even my little ticky talks. It's usually only at the beginning of the show, too. It's right when I get started, and then things kind of get easier. So, my tattoo is healing nicely, if anybody is wondering. I put a picture of it over on Patreon if you want to see that. I'm gonna get it finished next month. I'm thinking about getting some, like, lidocaine powder. Or not lidocaine. I said lidocaine, and then iocane powder happened in my brain. That's what happens when I try to read and talk at the same time. I also should rewatch Princess Bride. It's such a good one. But like lidocaine topical, like lidocaine cream. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe getting myself some of that to help with the tattoo that I'm getting filled out next month, because it's like, I'm gonna show off my arms a little bit. Ooh. I heard iocane as well. Yeah. So yeah, but I really had a difficult time with this tattoo most recently. And actually, I was talking to my therapist about it today. Therapy is good for you, everybody. Okay? Because, so if you all remember from a couple years ago, or if you're new, I tagged the stream as entertainment this time instead of news/politics. So we might get a totally different crowd of people tonight. Welcome in. Say hello, hit the like button, subscribe, etc. But yeah, I talked to my therapist because I was like, dude, I went and got this tattoo, and my body was like, I went in shock almost, like my blood pressure dropped and all this. So, if you remember from like 2 years ago almost, yeah, no shit, wow. It's been like a year and a half since I had an IUD placed, and I was not informed before. Yeah, shortness of breath can be a POTS symptom. That's why I don't worry about it too much. But I had an IUD placed, and they, like, not to get too into it or whatever, but when you get an IUD placed, if you're, so you have to go in through the vagina, right? You have to go in there. But sometimes the vagina is not like a straight path. Sometimes there's like a hard curve at the end. And if there's like a curve, then they take this metal claw and they grab your cervix and they yank your organs around until they have like a straight path. So I have PTSD from that. And I think that is probably why I'm so physically sensitive, like that I can go into a tattoo. I know that it's a tattoo. I know that it's going to hurt. I've had 4 tattoos before the one that I just got. And yeah, so I've talked to my therapist today, and we're going to probably do prolonged exposure about having my IUD placed. I already did prolonged exposure to deal with my kind of complex trauma from being abused as a child. But so like I fixed my PTSD problem, and then I had a really intense one-time event kind of PTSD, which is different than a kind of complex, over the course of several years, I had this thing happening to me, complex trauma. Had the same thing. My first IUD insertion messed me up so badly, and I had to do a show the next day, and I've never been in more pain. Yeah. And then I cramped for like the entire 7 months that I had it in my body. Like my body just was not having it. It was not working. What's up, Faith, over in the YouTube chat? So, yeah, boy gets to do another round of really intensive therapy, but that's fine because I've been working with the same therapist for like 2 years now, and I like her, and so she has not only helped me with, girl, I didn't even get a copper IUD. I got the Mirena. It was super, like, it did not work for me. Charlotte says, 66 people watching, 44 likes. Please check your maths, people. I think that like button will balance the equation. Thanks, Charlotte. I was thinking about getting an octopus tattoo on my side with tentacles wrapping a little around the boob. Yeah, just like cupping the boob. I do like the idea of under boob tattoos. Yeah, I don't have to shop for a therapist. I started seeing my therapist, who I'm currently seeing, specifically to do the prolonged exposure, and then I just continued to see her. So, convenient. That's what's going on in my life right now, is I'm trying to deal with like a lot of physical trauma symptoms that are messing me up and getting in my way. And then I've got personal life issues going on that, you know, do you ever have like an issue and you're like, I've been trying to solve this issue for like years, and then you start to come to the realization that it is completely not within your control? It's so hard to let go of that impulse to like keep hammering at it, keep working on it, and then you just kind of run out of energy eventually. Yes, exactly. IUDs are great if they work for you. So great, amazing. Absolute hell if they do not work for you. Good days to everyone, even with financial problems, having to compartmentalize world horrors. Sounds like every day as a grad student. Yeah, definitely do some self-care today. Part of the reason why today's show is going to be more entertainment oriented, a little bit, you know, sillier, lighter hearted. I kind of want to avoid getting into any serious political discussions, is that everybody needs a break sometimes, you know? And I'm so happy to cover trans related news. I'm so happy to cover the election. You know, I think it's important. It doesn't always make me feel good though. So I'm trying to like, we're not going to keep doing this every day. We're going to do memeing about James Somerton literally faking his suicide. Literally. And then we're just going to do Reddit Am I the Asshole? Because sometimes I'm over on Facebook or on Twitter even, and you'll see like a screenshot of a Reddit Am I the Asshole post, and I saw one that was a real doozy. Like, we're not going to get into it right now, but like, am I the asshole for explaining to my husband that he's the reason why we keep having daughters? Oh no. Whoop yoinking they splinky. Listen, Baphomet. This is a good Christian stream. Yeah, super on board. Literally. Excuse me. Oh my god, excuse me again. Have to get my IUD taken out sometime this year. I have the Mirena one, and the insertion was the worst pain I've ever experienced. Hope taking it out and getting a new one isn't as bad. Having it removed was okay, but I went to a totally different doctor. Like, the woman who put my IUD in, I was like, I'm never going to see her again. Like, I'm never going to, nope. Because part of the reason why is that after 7 months of having it in, I tried to make an appointment and was like, get this thing out of me immediately, please. I can't deal with it anymore. Like, not only was the initial pain so difficult, but then like 7 months of like monthly pain, basically. And it was so bad. She wanted me to come in for like a talk about it appointment. I'm like, you know what? You can call me if you have any questions. Take it fucking out. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. So I made an appointment at a completely different clinic and went, yeah, I had this IUD placed. It was really awful. And can you take it out, please? And the lady who took it out, she was real nice. She talked me through the whole process. My original doctor didn't even explain to me why it was so painful. Like, she didn't explain. And it was the second doctor who said, yeah, your canal takes a hard turn at the end. And so it kind of makes sense why it was so difficult to put it in. That does not excuse you. Like, okay, and after, I'm sorry, I'm going to complain about this for a minute. After the placement of my IUD, when I was in shock, like my body was in shock, she was like, oh yeah, so take it easy today. And, you know, don't go Googling any videos of what I just did because I have to use this claw and it's blah, 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 blah. She was obscuring information from me deliberately. And it seriously damaged my trust. It was not a cool situation. If I had more money, I would sue. Like, I was so mad. And like the fact that I have literal PTSD from it is some of the dumbest shit ever. But I guess, you know what? I guess I should have looked up the videos beforehand. Like, I just assumed that it would be a normal, maybe uncomfortable, maybe a little bit painful procedure. But that claw thing that they use to yank your cervix around, it makes you bleed. Like, they give you a little sheet that says you might bleed a little bit afterward. It's not because you're bleeding from, like, a period. It's because you're bleeding from they physically harmed your body. And yeah, I drove myself home because I had no idea that, like, I was not told that I might need a ride home. So I drove myself home. And while I was driving home, I felt like, oh my God, am I going to throw up? And then I came home and I went to go use the toilet and I broke out into a full body sweat. And I was like, I think something is wrong. Like, I don't know if I'm okay. And then I went and got in the shower and I stood in the shower briefly. And then I just laid down in the shower with like the overhead shower thing going. And I just laid there for like a while. And I was like, oh, my partner's going to be home soon and he's going to want to use the bathroom. And we were very much not getting along at that time. So I basically just like went kind of catatonic for the rest of the day. It is objectively and without compare the worst thing that has ever happened to me. Like, it was so bad. So I cannot recommend that you get an IUD, honestly. And my doctor suggested, a different doctor told me that sometimes when you have a connective tissue disorder, sometimes that means like you experience abdominal pain more intensely. So, you know, it probably wasn't the doctor who put it in there. It was probably not her fault that I had cramps for 7 months, but the cramps were like calling me back to that initial traumatic experience. So I'm going to be doing prolonged exposure, which is where you kind of walk through the memory and the doctor kind of, the therapist kind of guides you through it and you focus on specific parts of the memory, like some of the most intense parts. Yeah, oh man. It was a day. It was certainly a day. Yeah, even the day after, someone in YouTube chat is like, it was still really painful the day after. Wild. And I don't have insurance, so I don't think it would have been an option for me to go under in like general anesthesia or something. It's unacceptable how bad some bedside manner is. I've had a great experience with my IUD, but from talking to folks, maybe that's the exception. I mean, it's literally like, if you have like a straight vagina, like it probably isn't that bad. Because if they have absolutely no need to yank your fucking organs around. Connective tissue disorder can also make an IUD dangerous. I don't recommend IUDs in general, but especially not with connective tissues. Yeah, I don't have a specific connective tissue disorder diagnosed, but I very clearly have like some kind of issue. Vagina, true. Welcome to the website, Javelina. 93 people in here ready to meme and cream about James Somerton. Listen, hit the like button. Even if you're about to leave, even if you're not interested in the conversation we're having, just hit the like button before you go, okay, babe? Thanks. Fucking true, Joelle. I asked if they would give me pain management for the insertion, and they told me to just take Tylenol. I was told to take ibuprofen before my procedure. No, we have not already talked about James Somerton. We'll get there. We'll get there. Mama says, I'm going to be talking less because I'm starting cardio, so just imagine I make every possible pun and dirty joke if you miss me. True. Bye, Amethyst. Bye-bye. Like the stream. No, I don't want to cream to James Somerton. Oh, gosh. They said to take twice the recommended amount, which is so weird. You are allowed to take like a double dose of ibuprofen for specifically, like if you read the bottle, like I have a bottle of ibuprofen right here. If you read the bottle, it says this is what the dose is you're supposed to take unless directed by a doctor. So I recently had a lower back injury. Well, I sort of re-inflamed a lower back injury that I already have. And my doctor was like, yeah, you can take like 4 ibuprofen every 8 hours. And I was like, I'm not taking that much ibuprofen. So I took way less than that. But sometimes if you're told to, like you can. It's not always dangerous to do it. Like if you're doing it under doctor's recommendation. I'm trans, so I can only empathize in mind and spirit, but damn, misogyny is so pervasive and scary to me. Listen, yeah, someone made a video that was really illuminating to me a while back about the lack of care and consideration in women's health. But yeah, obviously people with uteruses. That's, it's, like, why did this woman who she has not only had children, but she's had an IUD, why did she not tell me what the procedure was going to entail? Like, I would have made a different decision. This is what informed consent means. Informed consent means I know what's going to happen to me, and I'm consenting. I was not informed of what was going to happen to me. They're like, it can be painful. And I'm like, yes, I've had a period before. I know what it's like. No, I did not. Temporarily overclock the liver. True. I feel like if I was single, I could fix Somerton. We got to stop trying to fix people. At a certain point, like, people need to take accountability for their own actions. I swear, like, this is like an issue that I've run into so many times where I've been through intensive therapy. I know a lot about human psychology and about a couple of specific disorders. Like, I am damn near an expert in at least one of my disorders. Like, I would say I'm basically an expert in borderline personality disorder. Like, I did the program. I graduated the program. It was highly effective for me. I know a fucking lot about it. And yeah, in general, something that I've realized is like, I have that tendency to try to explain to people, you know, you could be doing this differently, or, you know, like, I really don't like you talking to me like this. Here's a different way that you can talk to me. I think in a way that's kind of a reward for the behavior. Like, if you try to gently tell someone, hey, here's what you could have done differently, and then they don't like change that behavior, and you continue like carrying on your relationship like normal after the conflict has gone, I feel like you're inadvertently providing a positive reinforcement loop where that person is not planning on changing their behavior. Like, whatever they were doing, whatever they were saying is like, they clearly think that it's okay. And the more you accommodate that, and like, oh, I'm going to validate your feelings. I understand why you said that, even though I don't like that you said that. You know, I think that that's a mistake. Or at least, like, at first that makes sense, but after a while it's kind of like, why are you doing that? Suspicion/fear/skepticism about therapy is so frustrating. Like, you need training to drive a car. Why wouldn't you need to understand how to drive your psyche? I think the people who need therapy the most are the people who, like, are super resistant to therapy, you know? Like, we talked about the whole Poppy and Xena thing, which I saw a couple people mentioning in chat, in the YouTube chat. Like, trans girl therapist, they act like they're mental health, like, professionals, and, like, technically Poppy is, but I mean, they behave like they're experts, you know? But so, like, Poppy has BPD. She's been diagnosed with it, and she's not in specific treatment for BPD. And therapy who need people who need therapy the most are the people who breathe. Fucking true. But, like, Poppy shit talks DBT, which is the primary, most evidence-based practice for treating BPD. She will never go to DBT because it will require her to change, and she won't change. And I think that that's the thing. Like people who are resistant to therapy are people who know that there's going to be an expectation that they take accountability for their behavior, and they don't want to do that. What is wrong with DBT? Nothing is wrong with DBT. Like, people who shit talk it, I think they're only doing that because they refuse to take accountability. Diabolical booty tapping? No. Dialectical behavioral therapy, my loves. Therapy is nice, would recommend. And I don't want to be that person who's like, you have to be in therapy no matter what, or like any therapy is better than no therapy, because I don't think that's the case. I think there's plenty of therapists out there who can make things a lot worse. But getting that match, like, I was so lucky with my therapist. She was specifically interested in treating trans people because she found in the course of her career, where she was just treating BPD all the time, that she ended up with a lot of transgender patients, because trans people are often dealing with the kind of childhood trauma or neglect, the way in which trans people are treated when we're younger can often result in symptoms of borderline. So I just bang, bang, boom. Like, I lucked out so hard with my therapist, because not only was she an expert in BPD, which I have, she had been treating it for more than 20 years, but she also had started treating specifically trans people. She was cisgender, is presumably, I hope she's not dead. She is transgender, or sorry, she is not transgender. She identified as queer, but, like, she was really, really just aware, and a huge, huge help for me. Finding the scroll of truth. Some of your problems are your own fault. Yeah, like, throws it. Absolutely. Oh my god, excuse me. Burpee. Nice. Charlotte started seeing a counselor last week. Seeing her again tomorrow. Congrats. So happy for you. I recently stopped therapy because I ran out of things to tell them about. I wish that I would run out of things to talk about with my therapist. Wouldn't that be the day? Sometimes I do feel like giving up on therapy, because I'm just like, I feel like I'm treading water a little bit. But I'm starting to realize that, again, it's just because I'm running up against problems in my life that are not within my control. So I need to pull back and start focusing on the things that I do have control over. Like, how am I going to communicate in this situation? Or am I going to continue exposing myself to this situation? I only know about ZNP through that massive DJ Mule Dunkfest supercut. That was funny. I did enjoy watching that. I don't think I ever finished it, though. Been looking for a new therapist for like 2 years because I don't mesh well with many of them. I know. It's so hard. There are some professionals that classify BPD under or akin to PTSD. Here's my hot take. My hot take is that BPD is not an independent diagnosis. It's a behavioral disorder. But my personal belief is that BPD is just how autistic people display trauma symptoms. Personal opinion, like, I don't know if that's been backed up by anybody. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I know better than anybody, but like, I'm diagnosed with PTSD and I'm not diagnosed autistic, but I'm like 99.9% sure that I'm autistic. And yeah, I just think people with autism, like autistic people, have trauma. And then, you know, the world is also not very accommodating. The world invalidates us a lot. So it makes sense that you would develop some behavioral issues, that you would develop fear of abandonment, or that you would develop dissociative symptoms. Just all those things. Oh, that's so cool. A few months back, my therapist told me we were done because we seemed finished fixing my issues. Congrats. Like, I graduated from the dialectical behavioral therapy program, and then I switched to specifically intensive trauma therapy to resolve those symptoms, and it did temporarily. But yeah, I am a big fan of therapy. We try to encourage positivity here on this show. To, you know, we talk about a lot of crazy stuff. There's like 100 viewers in here, by the way. Thanks for hanging out. We talk about a lot of stuff in here. We talk about, you know, a lot of negative news, like, we're talking about Gaza, or we're talking about the fucking election, we're talking about Trump. You know, the protests on the college campuses. But in the midst of all that, I also want to tell you, like, here's what therapy can do for you. I used to have the worst self-esteem. Not the worst, probably. I used to have pretty bad self-esteem. I wanted to die a lot. Like, frequently and with intensity, I wanted to die because I did not feel like my problems were solvable. I did not feel like I had value. And I think that, like, one of the great things that therapy can give you is, I'm a bad bitch. Like, I know now that I'm like kind of an incredible person, and I'm not trying to like, it's like when you say it, it sounds conceited. I'm not being conceited. This is like me loving myself and feeling valued in myself. Like, that's not coming from externally. I'm still dealing with situations where I'm being actively devalued. Like, the constant trans news is devaluation. And people like, oh, someone made fun of my hairline recently, like, because it comes back, as though that's not one of the cool things about going on testosterone. It's like, I'm kind of happy that my hairline changed. But yeah, or like people will make fun of my voice or whatever. Like, I do still get negative feedback from outside, and like, probably I don't get enough positive feedback. I mean, you all are great. I'm not saying like I don't need you all to compliment me. It's lovely when you do, but you know, from people in your life, you need positivity. And like, mostly I'm like, okay, I get you know, neutral to moderately positive feedback. And so the me feeling like I'm a bad bitch who's like, I'm a catch, I'm a good partner, like I am thoughtful and I'm caring, and like I have my shit together more than a lot of other people do. And I have interests that make me an interesting person. Like, there's so much stuff we could talk about. Do you want to talk about archery? Do you want to talk about hunting rabbits? Do you want to talk about gardening and homesteading? I started my community garden plot this week. I haven't checked on it in a couple days, though. I need to check on it probably tomorrow morning. No, we have not talked about James Somerton yet. We'll get there eventually. If you don't know who James Somerton is, he's a gay man who plagiarized a bunch of people to prop up his YouTube channel. But, you know, that feeling that you're like, I'm real, I'm cool. Like, I have value. I'm amazing. That comes from a lot of internal work. You know, I don't think that if you have an internal sense of self that is kind of built on other people's perceptions of you, of course those things impact you to an extent. But if it's built on that, then it's pretty fragile. Because if your self-esteem is built on, let's say, a couple of friendships, well, what happens if that friend group all decide not to talk to you anymore? Or what happens if your best friend dies? Or if you get divorced? Like, what do you do with you yourself after an event like that happens? You know, you have to find it in yourself. I want a community garden. Yes. I'm kind of leading up toward hopefully eventually owning a house with a little bit of land and then like gardening and farming on the land. But it's going to be a while. So I'm practicing with a community garden. I would listen, we blew right past 69 likes today. We just blew right past it. Can we get to 100? 100? I actually want to get into posting on Fansly again, because since I moved last year, I've just been not really wanting to post on Fansly. But speaking to that whole like bad bitch sensation, if you look at the picture that I posted on Patreon, which you can see it for just $1, the picture of my new tattoo, I'm like, it's so sexy. It's a sexy tattoo. And it makes me feel like, oh, maybe I can get back into posting on Fansly, because mostly I just post like thirst traps. Learn to love yourself for all your weird faults. Once I started viewing my ADHD and autism as situation-dependent superpowers, that helped a lot with my mental state. Okay, here's my humble opinion. I think ADHD is the normal state of affairs for human brains. Or at least that it's the most advantageous state, evolutionarily speaking. I think that, like, oh, you mean I can hyper-focus on one task and then I get really easily distracted by, like, movement out of the corner of my eye? Bitch, sounds like I'm a really great hunter who can focus on, like, oh, something moves out of the corner of my eye. Oh, there's the rabbit. I'm going to shoot it with my bow and arrow. Or, oh, there's a fucking bear. You know, I genuinely think that ADHD is, like, the best state of mind for a survival situation. I'm getting pretty good at my single crochet now. It's amazeballs. Cool. This is my single crochet. This is the top part of a mushroom. I am apparently never going to finish this. I know, the bear discourse. There was a whole argument in my Discord server last night about the whole would you rather be in the woods with a man or a bear thing. I like woke up this morning and was like blearily reading through what had happened. I was like, oh my god, dude, you guys. Normally there's not arguments in my Discord server. There's a specific channel called Discourse, and sometimes things get spicy in there. But if you want to join the Discord, usually it's much more chill than that. Agree, Eric. Hot take. I think most neurotypes come with their own benefits evolutionarily in a collectivist setting. Agree. PTSD and anxiety have made me a great driver and a person that pays attention to details. I feel like a world that's changing as fast as the one we grew up in is a cause for ADHD to become so rampant. Evolution would select for traits to help us with this nonsense, I think, perhaps. Yeah, I know, women are taking all the bears. The poor sad gays. They're not going to have anybody left. Oh my god, we're so close to 100 likes. Do we want to talk about James Somerton first, or do we want to do Reddit Am I the Asshole first? We're great at learning new stuff, then moving on to the next item. Yeah. I really want to move into a part of my life now where I'm getting back to expression and, like, hobbies that I usually don't. Like, I've kind of slimmed down my editing work so that I don't have Somerton means you can just do assholes till you get tired. True. Yeah, we could do James Somerton first and then just do Reddit Am I the Assholes for the rest of the night. Ooh, the ADHD is so strong today. I took Ritalin this morning, but it has worn off by now. So I don't know what I was in the middle of saying. But yeah, I'm excited to get into talking about random stuff. I just want a twink, but it's hard to get one as a woman. You gotta find a bisexual. Like most people are voting for James. Okay, we'll talk about James first. Is Ritalin a nerf or a buff for me? Oh my god, it's such a buff. Oh man. It makes my life so much easier. Oh, I was saying, like, I've slimmed down my work time during the day a bit. Like, I've just gotten pretty good at, like, okay, this part of the process that I used to spend a lot of time doing, I don't need to do it anymore. Or here's, like, a new... Here's, like, a new thing. 10K Reasons, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. They said 3-month sub. What color am I? I'm literally colorblind. A tier 1 sub is like a bright lime green color. Like an electric green. So thank you. I hope that you enjoy your custom emojis. As Patient says, I found a twink. Oh gosh. Okay, I don't actually know. It's like $12? Yeah, it's like $12 for a 3-month tier 1 sub. Yes, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. Yeah, Somniostatic. We'll get into it in a minute, actually. I need to find some of the original tweets of James Somerton. I guess, can I just find that on his main? I don't actually know. Oh yeah, I guess this is him. Wait. There's only 318 followers on this account. What was James Somerton's original Twitter account? Because he basically posted on there that he was going to kill himself a couple of months ago. And then kind of just dropped off the earth. And then started posting on an alt. So that's what the story is. The story is today, like, okay, you remember what happened like 6 months ago. How long ago was it? But someone has discovered him now posting on another Twitter account and on a TikTok account. So, there's 100 likes. It just went to 100 while I was looking at it. Yes! America! Fuck yeah! Hell yeah, thank you guys. Apparently, switching from news and politics over to entertainment has caused the stream to be recommended to more people. He faked his suicide. Like, people were worried about him. There were people who were like, oh my god, you know, he posted a suicide note and then nobody has heard from him in months. So there were people who genuinely were like, I think he killed himself. And then he started posting on an alt, defending himself in the discourse mines. It's crazy. We'll look at the receipts in a minute. Excuse me. Ah! Why is he like this? It was in oh my god, are you serious? His alleged suicide was in March? What? I could have sworn that was like last year. Oh no. Yeah, we are in a time vortex 1 month ago because COVID killed time. I know. Oh my god. It genuinely, yeah, it feels like this all happened like last July. Wow. Yeah, but what is, I can't remember what his original account was called to find like the suicide note, basically. Yeah, July last year also feels like it was 40 years ago. We're struggling out here, okay? It'll be on the H-Bomber Guy subreddit. Oh, that's true. Oh, I see Jesse Earl has talked about this. I just saw someone post on Twitter, James Somerton has not killed himself, but if we all work together... And then that's the end of the tweet. Oh no. Ah! Okay, let me go to the subreddit. Can you search? Yeah, you can search within a particular subreddit. Okay, yeah, God, it's just 2 months ago. Oh my God. I'm gonna cry! Oh boy. It's tempting to make jokes, but I'll refrain. Listen. I think you're completely allowed to make jokes. I think if someone fakes their suicide and then, like, within the same day starts posting on their alts about, like, fucking, he's trying to talk about Marvel or whatever again, like, I think jokes are well warranted. What I haven't figured out, what I haven't decided is if I'm gonna record this as a segment for the channel or if we're just gonna meme and cream. What's up, Noah? How do people find out an alt is an alt? Well, I'll take you through. I'll take you through the story. I'll show you the evidence. Yeah, it was basically the same day he went on an alt. Ooh, hey, there's a gnat. I would like to kill it, please. No, don't go away. I want to kill you. I have a lot of fungus gnats because I have like 30 houseplants. Yeah, no, I think that this is completely joke-worthy. So, maybe we will do it as a little segment since I have the suicide note. This is... Can I buy some pixels, please? I was hoping to be able to read the username. I can't. I can't read it. I don't think we're minimizing suicide by laughing at James Somerton, by the way. Like, he was never in danger, to be clear. At no point. Let's just talk about it like I'm gonna record this for a segment, okay? I don't know if I actually will, but... Yeah, what's up, Arden? Do you know for sure? I know because he was posting on an alt the same day. Okay, let's get started. Okay. James Somerton. Y'all probably know who he is if you're watching this video. If you clicked in, you saw the title, you know what it's about. H-Bomber Guy did a video late last year, early this year. I don't remember. Time does not exist. But it was like this big video talking about plagiarism. And then he ended up circling back around and going, okay, yeah, James Somerton is a huge creator on the platform. December, thank you. In December, H-Bomber Guy posted a video about plagiarism, and he called out a couple of different creators. He called out... Oh god, what is her name? Illuminati? That was one. And I know Illuminati has other issues as well. But it was like, here, this is plagiarism. She's just copy-pasting stuff from other people's work, from documentaries that she's watched. Same sort of thing with James Somerton. And yeah, the internet historian as well. James Somerton specifically, like, the thing that made that so egregious was that he was propping himself up as, I'm a gay man, I'm a gay creator, I'm one of the only successful gay people on YouTube. I need to represent the community. And he was, meanwhile, literally plagiarizing smaller channels. He was taking smaller channels' work, like people whose channels were small, who had not seen as much success, taking their ideas word for word or with very little change and just like posting it to his much, much, much bigger audience, most of the time not properly crediting. Listen, H-Bomb's video is like hours long. I'm not going to try to go into all of the details right here. So TLDR, James Somerton was taking work from other gay creators while propping himself up as a gay creator, right? And so after all this fallout from H-Bomb Guy's video, like H-Bomb he gets millions of views on his videos, you know? So like a ton of people, I didn't even know who James Somerton was. You know, Harry said, I'm sorry if I'm about to ruin one of your favorite creators. I didn't know who James was until this video. So, but yeah, lots of really intense scrutiny and lots of anger directed at him. And I don't support harassment campaigns, even if someone did do something egregious. You know, just look in through the replies. And if other people are already making the same criticisms that you want to make, then back off. Just let it go. So there was kind of a scare, a little bit of a risk that maybe James might harm himself. Like he talked about having mental health issues, and he posted like March 4th, I think is what one of you said. And this is the note. Okay, he leaves a suicide note on his public platform on, I believe, Twitter, saying, if this message is live, it means I scheduled it before ending things. I have videos scheduled to go out over the next couple of days. Nothing new. I just wanted Nick's portfolio of work to be available. Once again, one thing that H-Bomber Guy pointed out is that, like, Nick is a co-writer on a lot of the videos with James. And James keeps bringing up Nick either as a shield or, like, to imply that maybe he wasn't fully responsible for what was going on. He just keeps bringing up Nick. And I imagine that has to feel terrible. And then this is an alleged suicide note. And then he mentions Nick again, as though you haven't done enough to ruin this man's life. Because it seems like the co-writer Nick did not know about all the plagiarism. At least it seems that way. So anyway, he invokes Nick's name again, and then says, I've left directions that any money from those videos shall be donated to the Canadian Association for Suicide Prevention. They've tried very hard to pull me back, but there's simply no life for me anymore. I've lost everything. My only friend, my livelihood, my name, and it's all my own fault. The world will be a little bit better off now. Goodbye. And people were really upset by this. People were like, oh my God, did he kill himself? You know, I'm sure that there were people who did participate in what we might call, like, oh my God, my brain just fucking canceled itself. Oh my gosh, this is what happens. Like, there were people who had said something to him or commented on one of his videos telling him how disappointed they were. And I'm sure that there were a lot of people who probably felt guilt that, oh my God, did I contribute to this guy killing himself? Like, that's pretty intense. And there has been no update, as far as I know, for several months. Or, you know, now it's like 2 months at this point. Nobody knew what had happened. The assumption was, yeah, he says, I've scheduled this post to go up and I am going to end things. And that's all people knew. Limited context here on this, but it feels like he wanted to make everyone think it was Nick's fault he's dead or something. Yeah, him going like, I've lost my only friend. Like, girl, you are trying to, like, did Nick know? Did Nick know that he was safe? Like, did you seriously let your former best friend think that you were dead, or what happened? Also, dedicating your alleged suicide to a suicide charity seems a little too on the nose. You know, if this had been a legit situation, if he had taken a bunch of pills, or if he had, if he had done something that was like he might die or he might not, sometimes people take like a handful of Ambien, and like I don't think Ambien will kill you unless you mix it with like alcohol. Or people will take like a handful of ibuprofen or a handful of Benadryl, and that will not kill you. So like, but it might knock you out. It might make you really sick. You might still end up in the hospital. If he had done something like that, I would kind of understand this post, right? But it seems like that is not what happened. Let's switch over here to twitter.com. Okay, zoomy. So this is from user Great Cheshire. By the way, since some people have figured it out on their own already, I'm just going to say that the same day James Somerton put up his post faking his death, he rebranded his alt account and posted about TV shows and also horny posted. So this is that account. He changed it to Will. And like, look at he, him, business owner, Lego nerd, pro wrestling mark, gay-ish. And this is the same account, the Achillean boy, that has just been... he just changed the username on it. He, him, movie nerd, pro wrestling mark, all around geek, follow me for gay opinions. Rewatching Sex and the City for like the 100th time, and it's just hitting me that Carrie seeing like 20 guys who look exactly like Big just goes to show how generic Big was. Posts from April talking about TV and wrestling and stuff. Some people, I haven't gone and looked for this, but people are saying that he was posting nudes and like posting whole while allegedly deceased. Like he was using this alt account. Like I said, I have not gone searching on the account. I'm just looking at the screenshots. Yeah, he didn't even make a new one. He just kept changing it. Yeah. Talking about like, oh, this actor is so hot. Knocked me into puberty so hard. Babes, that was March 6th. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if the detail on stream is high fidelity enough, but it says on March 6, 2024, he's horny posting about this actor, Ryan Philippe. Yeah, listen, I've never been hornier than when I was planning my suicide and posting suicide note. Oh my God. Oh man. And I don't have a date on this screenshot. When did this post go up on the subreddit? I don't think it says. But it was early March. Like someone in chat earlier said March 4th. I don't know what day exactly it was, but it was early in March that he posted the suicide note. And then, yeah, March 6th, he's on his alt posting about movies. Let's see what else there is here. The same day James posted his first apology on YouTube, he started this alt account for himself, originally under the attempted rebrand name of The Gay Raconteur. Since then, it was rebranded as an anal-themed account and a shark-themed account before then assuming a fake identity called Will. And this is proof because, like, the Achillean boy says ... how, raised eyebrow emoji, hashtag Barbie. And then The Gay Raconteur, again, the same tweet, ... how, anal sharks, true. It's particularly of note that this time in between Apology 1 and Apology 2, he was on his alt arguing in defense of himself, saying that the plagiarism wasn't that bad and didn't hurt anybody because the stuff he plagiarized was, quote, like a decade old, and then he blamed, quote, the cult of H-bomb. This is one of the most cringe things I've ever seen. Hit the like button if you think this is one of the most cringe things you've ever seen, because here's a critique right here. This critique starts, and I'm sorry that it's so small on the screen for you. I love how even H-Bomber Guy's own video goes into how plagiarism directly hurts the financial stability of the people who are stolen from, as it makes the audience believe the original source of those ideas was the plagiarist, but you've managed to be this dense about it. Yeah, that's the problem. People think that the idea came from you, but you stole it from someone else. And then under the name The Achillean Boy, he says, this is James saying, In most cases, he listed the authors in the opening credits of videos, so that's a false argument. He cited them in a lot of cases, just not in the way the cult of H-bomb would have preferred. Go get a hobby. Girl. Oh my god, wait, are you an unironic James Somerton defender in the current year? Is that what I've just stumbled into? That's what this person says. And then James says, no, he did shitty stuff, but hyperbolic arguments like yours make real arguments against plagiarism seem ridiculous. So again, this is James on an alt account while he's allegedly dead after posting a suicide note, defending himself. Oh no, this says January 24. So he was running this defense stuff for a couple of months in between. Like, he was like credibly accused of plagiarism in December, and throughout the month of January is using an alternate account to say like, oh no, James didn't do anything wrong. And then this continues. James Somerton literally built a career off of ruining the livelihoods of queer creators smaller than him. And James says, ruining the livelihoods, most of the stuff he's plagiarized was like a decade old. You're delusional. If you think the people who watched his videos would have sought out those articles on their own, like, oh yeah, that should be a comma. You're delusional, comma, or sorry, why is there even a period there? You're delusional if you think the people who watched his videos would have sought out those articles on their own. So he's just justifying it. He's just saying like, yeah, but it was okay for me to steal. Except he's saying it was okay for him to steal. When James did that thing, it was okay. He thinks he ate. I know. Yeah, this was after the first apology and before the second one. So he posted an apology video, but was still on Twitter on a secret account, posting in defense of his plagiarizing behavior. He's also lying, of course. Like, we know that he didn't cite these things appropriately. We know that a lot of the time he was just tacking on something in the credits, or like, oh, can I just put it in the description? Like, no, change the video. So yeah, I don't need to go into why all the things that he did were wrong. It's obvious why all the things that he did were wrong. H-Bomber Guy goes into it in incredible detail. But let's see. There was another rebrand, yeah, to the Achillean boy, because he cannot help using the same Greek mythology branding as Telos. He began going on TikTok as well, first using AI voices and emoji avatars before finally using his actual face and voice, which is how others discovered that it was him. So I haven't actually watched any of this yet. Let's see. Let's watch it together, huh? Hopefully I don't stumble across him posting whole. I don't think you're allowed to do that on TikTok. I don't think you're allowed to post whole on TikTok. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So this is while he's supposed to be dead, by the way. This is after he posted his suicide note. He's posting on TikTok this type of content. What is this?
As the tweet says, people have been pointing out that there is no heterosexual explanation for this image in the new X-Men series.
So the account is at William the Worm, and that's like just a weird little automated thing. Just took the words, put a face on it. Cool. And then on this same account, oh, look at that. Look, it's his face. Like, bro, you're supposed to be dead. I thought you killed yourself, you know?
So I've seen it going around a lot, the thing on TikTok of, would a woman rather be trapped in the woods with a bear?
Okay, so now he's weighing in on the bear discourse. All right, thanks. I feel like a gay man of all people, like, why are you jumping in on this? But anyway, so James, this is great, Cheshire, I'm quoting, James saw people mourn his death and call those who ever criticized him murderers, and just let that happen. He put out a manipulative statement to ensure that fact, and then horny posted from his safe alt while people suffered anxiety and grief for a death he did not commit, nor was he at risk for. And now he expects to come back to TikTok under a different name and try to continue the same #gay content he did before any of this came to light, never once answering for the harm he caused others by his actions and to try to profit from it all once again. Girl, you're not getting your audience back. You need to do something else. You need to pivot. The thing is that it's going to be like hard for him to get a job even anywhere else. Dan Olson commented, so are those his ass cheek and balls, like on one of those alt accounts, or yeah, the alt account? And then Lady Emily says, reverse Google image search showed nothing, so unfortunately I believe it is actually his ass cheek and balls. Horny posting on his account, on his alt account, while he was supposed to be dead. Like, oh man. Like, it's funny because it's incomprehensibly, like, terrible. Like, it's pretty, yeah, watch him claim that it's not him. They deep faked me. I don't know. He's got some kind of addiction to posting. I wonder at this point if he's like a glutton for punishment. Does he enjoy the public flagellation that he's... Yeah, that is a very deep fake. True. Yeah, I know that clip dates the post perfectly. Everybody's having this... I just discovered that actually the original, like where the whole bear versus man thing originated, was actually a comic video. Like, it was a comedian making a joke about it, and then apparently women aren't allowed to make jokes and be sarcastic, so then it became this whole actual conversation about... I mean, and it, you know, I think it's an interesting conversation that has come out of it, but whatever. That's not what we're talking about right now. I don't think he likes the flagellation, but I think he can't not be online and posting. Yeah, humiliation fetish confirmed. He is desperate for attention, and he seems to be pathologically incapable of taking accountability. For him to fake his suicide and then within a couple days be posting on an alt account talking about movies and talking about TV shows and talking about wrestling and posting whole, like, wow, it's almost incomprehensible. I don't understand him. I do love the idea of Somerton still trying to pretend he's dead, get someone claiming to do seances saying his ghost confirmed it's a deep fake. I don't know what his problem is. Yeah, not one fake apology, but 2 fake apologies, and then a fake suicide note. Yeah. So I wonder what his take was on the bear. Let's listen. What is his take on the bear? I will give you this one chance.
Around a lot. The thing on TikTok of, would a woman rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a man she doesn't know, and always picking the bear, and a lot of men being like really butthurt about that. I just want to say, to add to that equation, as a gay man, bear jokes aside, as a gay man, okay, if somebody asked me, would you rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a straight man you don't know, it's the same answer. I'm picking the bear. Okay, cool.
I don't really have any interest in your opinions otherwise. I was just curious, like, did he go completely the wrong direction with that, or... I think Vosh hit the nail on the head. Somerton actually does not comprehend other people's emotions or take them seriously. He doesn't understand what people think. I think that some people get stuck in, like, this victim mentality where even when they objectively do something wrong, like, you can... If you try to call them out on it, they're gonna switch. They're gonna, like, flip to being like, yeah, but I'm the victim somehow, you know? Like in this situation, James Somerton is out there plagiarizing. He's stealing the work of other people and, like, behaving in an egregious manner. And then people put that behavior on blast. And then suddenly he's like, the cult of H bomber guy. I just didn't do things to your exacting standards. I tried my best, and now I'm gonna kill myself because all these people are just talking about... And it's like, girl, yeah, he carved out an exception for gay men. That's fair. He was like, between a bear versus any straight man. Like, okay. Yeah, more than one person saying things I dislike equals cults. Some people just can't take accountability, you know? And I mean, it might be kind of problematic for me to say I think he's pathologically incapable of taking accountability, but it's like, I don't know what you do at a certain point. It's like, again, the Poppy and Xena stuff. Like how can you be so objectively wrong and yet still claiming the high ground, you know? Like how can you have harmed so many different people and have so many different people who are all on board with the idea that you've done something wrong, something harmful, damaged people's careers, and then just carry on posting whole on your alt account after faking your suicide? Like, like there is a fantastic armchair conversation that could happen, which I'm not necessarily going to go into a whole, like, oh, let's speculate as to what exactly. I know there's lots of people out there who are going to say, oh, he's a narcissist or whatever, but I'm not going to go out there and say, I think narcissism in particular is pretty difficult to diagnose. Like, I know a lot about my diagnoses, but I'm not going to go out there and say that he's a narcissist, but I can see why people think that, because narcissism has a tendency to be like, I only care about myself, other people's opinions don't matter. There's what's the narcissist prayer? I gotta look it up. Me, 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 me. Okay, so the narcissist prayer is, that didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. If I did mean it, you deserved it. Like, that's the narcissist's prayer. And so I can see how people will project that onto this situation. Because he's originally like, but I didn't steal from you. I posted credits. I posted your name in the description. Oh, it was only after you called me out for copying your shit? Like, okay. And then he's like, oh, well, even if I did copy some things, I didn't mean to. Like, it wasn't that bad. And then he's like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then he tries to shift blame and say, oh, Nick and I are working on these scripts together. So he's trying to say, oh, it's not my fault. Or like, oh, I didn't realize, oh, I didn't mean it. But then when he says, oh, these videos were from 10 years ago, nobody would have read them. Nobody would have looked at this anyway. It comes full circle to like, you deserved it. No one was going to read your article anyway. If anything, I've done you a favor by broadcasting your words to a broader audience. You need to stop getting so hung up on the fact that I didn't credit you the way that you wanted to be credited. Oh my God, dude. White Nervosa just posted the narcissist prayer about Poppy. I think Poppy does kind of fit into that same thing. Like, again, I'm not going to say that she's a narcissist or anything. She's diagnosed with BPD, and they have, like, NPD and BPD can have some similar expressions. They're both behavioral disorders, so they can be kind of similar in certain ways. But like, I understand why people think that about him. And I think to some extent, it kind of makes us feel better. Like, if you can ascribe a reason for someone's actions, like, oh, well, he's a narcissist, that almost makes it like more understandable, the behavior more understandable. Because otherwise you're just left with this nebulous feeling of like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? And so in the search for meaning in that, there is, I think, this tendency to want to label things, which I understand. Like, I get the impulse. Is the Poppy and Xena thing still going down? Oh, you don't even know. I keep thinking, oh, this is going to peter out soon, and then it doesn't. We're not talking about that right now, though. I'm referencing it because it's just something that has happened recently. But I mean, yeah, when you're looking at people who are doing things that everyone seems to be in agreement that it's objectively wrong, whether it's, going on a harassment campaign against your ex-girlfriend because you're vindictive and jilted, or whether it's plagiarizing and then apologizing but not really apologizing, and then defending yourself on your alt account, and then making a second apology, and then pretending to kill yourself. Like, these people, like I think that they share, again, look, the Poppy and the James Somerton both, they share this quality of like, yeah, not being capable of stopping. They just dig deeper in their hole. I've said the word hole too many times in this video. Yeah, it's like at a certain point, you just have to laugh. You know, you can point out the hypocrisies, you can point out the issues, but it's like, it's so incomprehensible. It's so ludicrous. It's so silly that at a certain point, you just have to go like, Lamau, are you for real right now? Like, Lamau. Yeah, and it's like some behaviors aren't pathological. Like some behaviors can't be specifically diagnosed. Like a person being deeply selfish or not caring about the feelings of someone else, like that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a diagnosis. You know, like people can just be selfish. Sometimes abusive people are abusive, you know, for reasons that can't be, you know, neatly fitting into a specific type of diagnosis. And I agree that there's a lot of stigma, particularly around narcissism, where people are like, it's kind of the same with BPD. Not quite the same, but similar, where if you try to learn about narcissism or if you try to learn about borderline, you run into a lot of stuff online that's like, stay away from these people. It's impossible to be in a healthy relationship with them. And yeah, like this tendency to armchair diagnose and for people to go, oh yeah, my ex was a total narcissist. She blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get the desire to like label it. If it weren't like an actual disorder, if narcissistic personality disorder wasn't like a thing that gets increasingly stigmatized through this dialogue, then like I might be a little bit more willing to engage in it myself. So I'm just going to say like, I understand the impulse to label the behavior that way. Y'all are talking about the man bear thing still in the comments. Oh gosh. Yeah, I agree. Sylvia, there you go. Like, I think you can label these people, you can label their behavior, but we don't need to use a medical label. If someone is a manipulative abuser, you can just say that. You don't have to say they're a narcissist. I think that's part of the problem, is that people are using the word narcissist to mean an abusive person. Diggy diggy hole. My job used to be digging holes. That's a fucking true fact. And I would sing that song to myself. Wowee. Yeah. So we can label bad behavior without, you know, necessarily saying, oh, this person has a clinical diagnosis or whatever. We don't know. All we know is that he did things that materially harmed people. We know for sure that his success denied other people the opportunity for success. Because here's the thing, James Somerton, every single time he did one of these videos, he could have literally just invited the person that he stole from to say part of their argument in the video, and then for him to converse with them or riff off of it. Like, you can use your gigantic platform to redirect attention to the younger or smaller creators. I only have 30,000 subscribers, and I'm trying to use my community page to post other people's stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, here's another trans creator. Here's another trans creator. Check out this video about autism and being trans. Like, at a minimum, giving credit in the writing. There's so many different ways that you could have done this right. He just had no intention of doing it the right way. And like, you know, you can't know what's in someone's head. I know Vash has said this before. You can't know what's in someone's head, but you can infer by their behavior, you know? So if his behavior was stealing from people, knowing that, like, they often wanted credit. There was a guy, he not only took the script from the video, but he also took the person's clips that they had put in their video, and even the little jokes that they put on the screen in text ended up in James's video. Like you have to know on some level that what you're doing is not okay. And I think that this is something that Harry hit on in his video, is that he knew that it wasn't okay. He tried to hide his behavior by rewording things. And he would so someone would get in contact with him and say, I want you to credit me in the video. Like, what are you doing? And he would be like, oh, is it okay if I just put your name in the description? No, that's not enough credit. He knows that these people want to be credited for their words. And he keeps doing it anyway. And he keeps defending himself. I mean, yeah, you could literally buy the rights to the script. If you think you're going to make a lot of money stealing someone else's script, you could just buy it off of them and go, hey, I'm going to pay you a one-time fee. It's going to be more money than you would have made from your content, and it's going to be less money than I'm going to make from my content, and whatever, it's a write-off for me anyway. You could just, there's so many different options. You could hire them as writers, or even some people would probably do the whole do this for exposure thing. Hey, will you be in my video? Will you make a little clip that I can put in my video, since I'm going to be referring, Alexander Avila. You could, instead of stealing all of Alexander's, not only his words, but his footage, why didn't you invite him on to the project? Why didn't you have him do a voiceover, or just pay for the words? These people are just I think Alexander was like, yeah, you need to shout me out. You need to give me credit. You need to actually, if you just post something on the screen, lots of people, first of all, don't click the description. Lots of people listen to video essays. Hell, I'll even put on a bunch of Good Mythical Morning and just listen to it in the background and not watch it. So it's not sufficient if you just post let me edit your name into the credits. No, you need to say the person's name who you're taking the content from. There's so many different sort of basic rules of etiquette that you could follow in this situation. And he just continues to make it worse. And that's the thing too. You have the choice to not make things worse. You don't necessarily have to make things better, but at a certain point, you have to acknowledge that, making things worse. My therapist used to say this. We would be trying to brainstorm, we would be in group therapy and we'd be trying to brainstorm, what are some different ways we could solve this problem? And one of the things that she pointed out, okay, you all have come up with a lot of really great options, but it is an option to make things worse. When we're making a list of options to choose from, you could throw the gift back at their face, or you could refuse to talk to them, or you could blow up and scream. There is an option always to make things worse, and there's always an option to make things better as well. But you do also have the option to simply not make things worse. You don't have to keep doubling down. Why are you defending yourself on an alt account? Why did you do any of these things? Because he does not respect the people that he stole from is a huge part of it. Because that's what Harry pointed out. When you know something is wrong and you keep doing it anyway, it's because you don't respect the people that you're harming or stealing from or whatever. Truly, yeah, he's too important to have to pay other people. In his mind, he's doing good work for the queer community. He's out there being one of the only big gay channels. He's out there representing. You should just be grateful that your words made it out to a broader audience, even though you didn't get any credit. I just can't imagine doing shit like that and not feeling like scum. I kind of wonder, either he is not able to understand other people's emotions and how he harms people, or he knows what he's doing is wrong. And it's there are some people who will continue engaging in bad behaviors because admitting that they're wrong and they need to change is much more painful than the shame that they experience from doing bad things. And I think that this does kind of fit into the narcissism dynamic, because I have learned a little bit about NPD. And I think that is one of the things that people with NPD run into, you know, the ones who avoid therapy for a long time. It's very much a situation where, yeah, in order to stop the behavior, you know, you might, like, let's say you say something really harmful to your mom, like you just really go off about it and you're ashamed because you know you should respect your mom, right? But admitting that you did something wrong and that you need to change feels like an existential threat. It feels more scary and bad and dangerous than sitting with your shame for your behavior. Like, the shame from your behavior is comfortable almost. It's like familiar, you know? So if you acknowledge that you've done harm, you know, that's a thing within yourself and the accountability and consequences from everybody else around you. Charlotte says that's very relatable. I was like that when I was trying to be a man. Yeah, like, acknowledging that you've done something wrong and acknowledging that you've done harm is painful and difficult. Nobody wants to, because people tend to think, oh, I'm a bad person. Only a bad person would do that. But there is no such thing as a bad person or a good person. There's just like good actions and bad actions. Good people can do bad things. Bad people can do good things. That's why there's no such thing as a bad person or a good person, because everybody is a mix of both. But people who tend to get into these manipulative, abusive cycles, people who drive these abusive cycles, do seem to have like an inability to confront the harm that they've done. Yeah, Eric says, in my therapy group, there was this guy who rapidly became my good friend. And one time he said, you could run out of the room and cry, and then said, sorry, that's a bad answer. And my therapist went, no, you got it. That's a choice. There are so many different choices. Do I need a license to drive abusive circles? Unfortunately, no, that's the problem. If you can't look into your past and say, damn, I made some real mistakes I would never make now, then you probably have not grown much as a person. Listen, I just turned 30, and when I'm looking back at my early 20s, I'm like, wow, I don't agree with those decisions. Like, I understand where I was at that time, but I do not agree with those decisions. Like, I'm embarrassed, you know? And I think that that's a necessary part of growth, to be able to look at your behavior and say, I had the option to do something different. Like, I had other options. I was doing the best I could at the time, but I did not choose the best option. Yeah, I think that Lord Byron, you have it right. You know, part of learning to deal with your mistakes is learning how to not go too hard on yourself for the mistakes you've made. But if you do something really deeply egregious, like if you very seriously harm someone, if you very seriously harm a lot of people, I think the greater the harm you've committed, probably the greater the difficulty is in being willing to accept the harm that you've done and being willing to like work through in yourself. I'm not even talking about the part where you make restitution and you apologize, but just in yourself, being able to go, yeah, I did that and I feel really bad about it. And it's also not the end of the world. It doesn't make me a like terminally bad person. It's not like I'm never going to get better. It's not like I can never choose to do better in the future. You always have the opportunity to turn things around. Even now, James Somerton could probably turn things around. It might take a long time for people to forgive him. You know, maybe if he just dives completely into the wrestling stuff, I don't know, but it's not going to happen until he genuinely apologizes. And considering the situation is what it is right now, where he lied about a suicide and then was posting, like letting everyone believe that he had killed himself, letting people believe that they had accidentally bullied someone into killing themselves. Like, I don't think that James is going to make the decision. I don't think Poppy is going to make the decision to be better. But they have the opportunity. And I think that that's maybe one of the most sad things about these type of situations. Like, I mean, obviously, I do not mean to minimize the harm that has been done to any of the other people in the situation. But like, there's like a BoJack episode where he's talking about his mom having passed away, you know? And like, one of the worst things about it for him, even though he always had a bad relationship with his mom, was that her dying means like there was some hope the whole time that she could get better. Like, there was some hope the whole time that they could have a positive relationship. And it's just gone when your parent dies that way, you know? And I think it's kind of a similar thing here. You know, obviously nobody's died, but like, accepting that someone is not going to change. Like James Somerton, he has all this potential to change, but he's not going to. And we have to accept that sometimes, or that if he does change, it's going to need to happen in private. It's going to take years. It's going to take a lot of him taking accountability for himself. Yeah, exactly, Neadri. If every day for 2 months he opted not to update everyone about his suicide, like, he could have just said, hey, I'm not dead, like on his primary account. Maybe he could say, I was in crisis and I'm not dead. He didn't do that. And then someone else has to let the cat out of the bag because he posted his face on it. Like, nobody would have known probably if he had not posted his face on his TikTok account. And that's where I do think that, like, he is desperate for some kind of attention or validation. He could be a writer. He could just write and start a blog or start a Substack and just write under a pseudonym, you know? But he's doing things in a way that is like, you're obviously going to get caught. Has he acknowledged that people are onto him? I actually don't know. I haven't checked. I only just saw this tweet today, and I thought it was just too funny to not talk about. So it's only been 3 hours, according to this timestamp, since this tweet thread went up. Although, and I would have to go find his accounts to see what he's posted. He could absolutely work in marketing too. Like, he clearly can sell an image and a brand. Exactly. I have a friendship that I'm beyond grateful to have now with one of the people I harmed more than any other individual. I really put an enormous amount of effort into helping them whenever I can because I will never fully feel like I've paid that debt back. Rough one. Yeah, I know. You know, you carry shame when you've harmed someone. You carry guilt when you've harmed someone. All he would need is a work-from-home job to do marketing. Yeah, there should be plenty of those. I'm sure that there's some horrendous, bloodthirsty company out there that would just snatch him up immediately. I'm sure. Hail hydrate, babes. Tiring out my voice. I really do kind of appreciate James Somerton giving me this opportunity, because like, I didn't necessarily expect this to become a conversation about like mental health and accountability, but he could legally change his name if he was really pressed and then join a corporate job where he wants this type of person. Yeah, his life is not over. So I think this is basically breaking news today, so I don't know if he's responded to this at all. Because these posts are only from 3 and 4 hours ago. All these, like the top posts on James Somerton when you search it up on Twitter. Yeah, so yeah, there hasn't been any response from him yet that I've seen. H-Bomb's team was dragged for days and didn't get much sleep trying to get info about Somerton's well-being during those first few days after the suicide note, and James really did nothing, which feels revengeful, TBH. I mean, yeah, he's punishing you. When you try to hold someone like James accountable, if you won't accept all of the dodging of accountability that he's trying to do, he will retaliate however he can. And making H-Bomb's team, making Nick, his co-writer, making all those people feel like what they did was so egregious that he had to kill himself. Like, this is the ultimate victim move, assuming that he didn't actually have an attempt, which apparently he did not. Like, there's no evidence that he made an attempt. He said he scheduled the post to go up after he killed himself, and there was no report of him going to the hospital or anything. But it's to punish people. He wants you to feel bad. He wants you to feel bad for trying to hold him accountable. He wants you to have anxiety about the fact that you might have contributed to his suicide by bullying him online or whatever. Ooh, YouTube chat says that currently the accounts that have just now been identified as belonging to James Somerton have gone private, which we assume that must have happened today after the screenshots were taken. And he still seems to not think that his actions were harmful. He still seems to think like, what I was doing was okay, or he thinks that either that or he does think that it's bad on some deep secret level that he's not willing to grok with, because he keeps trying to defend himself. He keeps trying to wiggle away from the public eye. Yeah, just making his account private and then gonna make a new alt tomorrow. It is confusing. Yeah, it seems like he's after attention, but doesn't want to seem attention-seeking. Well, the thing is that people are gonna start going in and commenting now. People are gonna start replying and going, hey, is it you, James? And he is trying to avoid that. Like, did you think that no one was gonna figure this out? Did you think that just because you're on TikTok and not YouTube, that means like that do you think the audience is like so fundamentally different that no one is going to recognize your face? Honestly, after Harry put you on blast to like 1 million people. It's like you must, yeah, I don't know. Somniostatic says he must have known that someone was going to recognize him. Like, yeah. Does he just thrive on the drama? Maybe. There are some people who just thrive on the drama, and they're like seeking some kind of thrill, or it's like some kind of validation. Like, I don't know what the problem is. This is like a you need a therapist kind of problem. What else can we say about this? You know what I mean? Like, what else is there to say? It's so silly. It's so dumb. Yeah, it's goofy and yet so toxic. If only he put this effort into something productive. Imagine. I'm curious if he did manage to get a regular job, or if he's just decided that he's gonna try to grift on TikTok. Like, I don't know. Hard to trust anything he says now. Yeah, he's repeatedly shown himself to be duplicitous and dodging accountability. It's just like, silly behavior. Moral of the story, don't fake your death and post hole in the same month. Probably a bad way to hide. It's like, it's just so disrespectful to the people who he harmed and the people who were hoping that he would make things right. Like, it's just very disrespectful. But then again, so is everything that James has done that I know of. Like, basically all behaviors of his that I'm aware of have been really selfish. Maybe we're done with that. Maybe I should post it in my notes that we talked about James Somerton today. Guys, I decided to not ever fully face the consequences of my actions, but people were mean to me. Am I the asshole? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna move into Am I the Asshole next. Excuse me. If I say the phrase posting hole, I mean like HOLE. Like he posted his balls and asshole on his alt account while allegedly dead from suicide. So, just to clarify, just to make sure you know what we're talking about here. Okay, yes, this is going in my notes. James Somerton. The rumors of his death are greatly exaggerated. Oh my god, what is today? The 9th? No, it's the 8th. Okay. Eventually I'll know what day it is. James Somerton. Lamau. That's how that's going in my notes. I missed that context originally, and I still wish I missed that context. Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, we've not talked about RFK's actual brainworm. I can't mentally or emotionally handle another, like, pandemic type of conversation today. We'll deal with it later. Mama Mephistopheles wants to note that posting hole equals good, but posting hole while faking your death equals bad. The brainworm sent me, yeah. I can't. I actually saw 2 different stories about brainworms, like literal brainworms. And yeah, I don't have the emotional fortitude to deal with it today. There's like 145 people in here. You might consider dropping me a $5 dono if you enjoy the segment, if you enjoy the show, if you're having fun. No pressure, but it is very appreciated. I know, like, the phrase brainworms exists, but I didn't think that it was going to be literal. The bingo card for 2024, like, there are things that keep happening that are not on the bingo card. Yo, congrats on the 2nd job interview. That's exciting. Today we got a new well pump, and we'll be able to have it up and running in the next day or 2. That's awesome. I'm so glad. You guys have a baby coming. You need to have water on your land. It's been a crazy year. Like, I felt like James Somerton's suicide note was like last year, but it was only 2 months ago. Ah. I know, and it's only May. I was telling my tattooist, like, January went by really slowly, but then the last couple of months I feel like have gone by kind of quick, but it also still manages to feel like it's been 12 years since the beginning of the year. Like, maybe I think that it's an event problem. It's like Lindsay Ellis back in the day made a video about, well, she made numerous videos about the Transformers because, you know, that was her special interest for a minute, but it was she was not really talking about time, but it was more like the way that Michael Bay movies are. Like, most movies have a kind of pull and push. Like, you know, it draws you in with an action scene, and then it lets you relax with a dialogue scene or whatever. Jack, thank you so much for the $10 dono. Stream tax. I'm going to sleep. Good night. Good night. Thank you for joining us for the James Somerton segment. Appreciate you. Number go up. Brr. Look at that. 23 dono dollars. Amazing. Yeah, a bunch of people who thought they were done talking about Somerton are gonna have to respond to this now. I think this is kind of my first time really seriously covering James Somerton. And I'm glad that it was to clown on him for being really bad at hiding online. Jeez Louise. I mean, I'm glad he's not dead, to be clear. Like, I feel like I should have maybe said that closer to the top of the segment. It's not like I hope he dies, but to fake your suicide is just really beyond the pale. It's just a really horrendous thing to have done. Yeah, just stop lying. You would think. Ugh. Absurd. Yeah, and the theft of content. It's like, he tried to initially say, oh, I copy-pasted part of this article and I put it in the notes. And then I forgot, what did he say? Like, oh, I forgot that it was copy-pasted. Like, okay, why, if I quote something or if I pull something and I put it in my notes, I usually put a link to make it obvious that it came from somewhere. Thank you, Jackie, for the $5 super chat. Crazy year. In January, I had COVID. Still have some coughing spells even after testing negative twice. Be safe and look after your health, y'all. Yeah. Wear a respirator, y'all. Wear a rated N95. And wear it every single time you go in public. Frankly, wear it outside, too. Your allergies will save you. Like, you'll feel much better not getting allergies. If you told James to stop lying, he'd just stand up confusedly. Yeah, stop lying. And he's like, okay, I'll get out of bed. I have no idea who James Somerton is. Only heard of him after his cancellation. Yeah, same. Like, I did not know who he was until we saw H-Bomber Guy post, you know, his very damning video on the subject. I'm a masked up girly. It's part of the outfit at this point. Yeah. Like, yeah, with COVID, you never know if you're going to end up with, like, reduced lung function or heart scarring or brain damage. It's not a good time. Wear a respirator. A respirator. I've been furious in the past when someone on Reddit steals my comment and gets more karma. I can't even imagine someone stealing actual monetized content. Well, we'll move into Reddit Am I the Asshole here in a minute and have fun chit-chatting and talking about, like, we're going to adjudicate. We're going to adjudicate some things. Emily, thank you. It's going to take a minute for your super chat to pop up on the screen because it's a little bit slow from YouTube, but thank you for your $19.99. I got paid today and now you do too. Score. Amazing. I appreciate that. Sharing the love. Thank you so much. I did still get COVID. Why? Because my Metamor, who I live with, got COVID from the hospital where they put them around people coughing without masks on. Cute. Yeah. You can still run a Corsi Rosenthal in the house and at least reduce the viral load. I think even in, like, if you are sick with COVID and you're quarantining in your, like, let's say you're just locked up in your bedroom, I think if you run a Corsi Rosenthal filter, like if you're filtering the air, I think that you will probably get over it faster because you're breathing it out into the room and then you're breathing it back in. And like the more it's around you, the more sick you are. So, and then like there's like nasal sprays and stuff that can reduce your viral load even if you are sick with it. And like, of course, if you kill the virus while it's in your nose and mouth, you know, that will help you get over it faster. But yeah, it's a toughie. It's a toughie. It sucks when you're doing everything you can to try to avoid getting sick, but then other people are doing things outside your control. Like, if your mom goes to the store without a mask on, like, okay, well, I live with you, so, like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Apparently nothing, like, apparently it doesn't matter to you if I get sick, like, so difficult. Like, at a certain point, like, if you want to risk having a heart attack in the next 12 months because you decided you wanted to get a cold, cool, have fun with that. But, like, when it starts to impact me, I'm like, stop it. My partner has a cute lace N95 cover he crocheted himself. He had lung issues and lives in an incredibly large, dense tropical metropolitan area, so it's important, but you know, gotta be cute. I don't care how I look in public anymore, not really. So I just wear the N95 and deal with people giving me weird looks. Whatever. It's not too bad around where I live. Like, it's like people aren't harassing me about it, and I usually have normal interactions with people. I'm super nice, especially in customer service situations, because I used to work customer service. So probably if people have an initial, like, why are you wearing a mask kind of reaction, like, I'm super nice through the whole interaction, so I think it kind of disarms people a bit, even if they are a little bit weird about it. Yeah, I love the anonymity of wearing a mask. I like that it allows me to talk to myself. I like talk to myself and I sing to myself in public because I'm not really worried about people looking at me and being like, why is that person talking to themselves? Oh my God. Yeah, being personable definitely helps people get over their stuff pretty quick. Yeah, and I don't live in like the most, I mean, I live in Kansas, but I don't live in like the most conservative part of Kansas. There are definitely parts of Kansas that I wouldn't even want to drive through on the, like, just in case like some fucking cop decided to pull me over and be weird, you know? Like, some places where I would not want to go by myself, but it's not too bad for the most part. Mm-hmm. 6 o'clock, y'all. 6 o'clock in the central time. I slept funny last night because my jaw hurts a lot this morning. Like, I've been trying to massage it out and it's just, ugh, still a little bit sore. I wonder if maybe it's allergies too, because I spent a little bit of time outside yesterday and decided not to wear my mask. Mistake. Like, yeah, the allergies. Wearing an N95 does help with that. Charlotte. $127 people in here. We're at 141 likes. Thank you all. Like, ding dang dong. Thank you all for chilling with me, for memeing with me. Boy, howdy. Sometimes I take a little break around this time of the stream to rest my voice, but maybe I'll just sit here silently like a weirdo until we're ready to talk about Reddit Am I the Asshole? We've memed, but we have not creamed. Speak for yourself. Has anyone posted any Am I the A-hole posts in the stream recommendations channel over on the Discord? If there's any that you want us to cover, I don't think YouTube chat will let you post a link, but the website chat will. So I have like one that I planned on covering, and then other than that, you know, it's just going to be, I'll just pick random ones, or it's going to be user submissions. Creamed. I don't think I even follow any of the Am I the A... Oh, I follow one Am I the A-hole subreddit. But the other ones that I see just come up in my feed because apparently everybody enjoys that content. And yes, I do keep... I do keep reading it. I haven't seen the House of the Dragon one. I only hear AITA from Sam Collins. Listen, it's really popular content. I like Smosh, their videos pop up on my Facebook all the time, where they're reading it and then conversing about it as a group. The Am I the A-hole posts. Jamie and Shaba, I saw Shaba just posted one. Sam Collins does it. Like, you know, it's a popular subgenre of content. And it's like kind of lazy content, I guess. It's not as lazy as the accounts that I see on Facebook who just repost the post. At least if you're making a video about it, you're like reacting and having fun, which is what I'm hoping to do today. So just react and have fun. I'm getting ready to make chicken tenders, but wondering baked or fried. I mean, for flavor, the answer is always fried, but I know I'm trying to do a lean bulk. I'm trying not to dirty bulk, so I'm trying to keep my, you know, unhealthy fats down a little bit. Yeah. Talking about Reddit Am I the A-hole posts can be quite fun. Scrolling, seeing if I can find good stuff. This is a fun post. Did Frodo really destroy the ring? Elijah Wood in 2000, Elijah Wood in 2020. Good looking guy. I'm more worried about spoons because my back is angry again. Then just throw them in the oven. Just pop them in the oven. I try to minimize the amount of time that I actually spend standing in the kitchen nowadays. Okay, this one's hot today. This one's hot today. So I've got two lined up. Oh gosh. This is not an Am I the A-hole post, but it's just funny to me. Mint, I've lost the war. I was young once, naive. I heard the warnings about mint. How hard could it be to contain? What's the downside? A little extra mint? It's everywhere. It spread faster than I could have ever anticipated. I can't control it. It's spreading to my neighbor's land. I fear I have unleashed a great plague. Don't be like me. Put it in a pot. God forgive me. You didn't heed the warnings. Oh my gosh. The mint apocalypse. Oh no. I also limit the amount of time I spend standing in the kitchen. We have an office chair in the kitchen. Here's my hot take. I do think I wish that kitchens were designed for people who need to sit down. Like, I think it's pretty upsetting that I have to stand to do the dishes. You know? Like, what if I wanted to sit down? I gotta stand here for 20 minutes? And then also I gotta stand here for an hour while I'm cooking? Let me sit down. What's the downside? Mint just sounds like tasty grass to me. You know, the issue comes when you can't control it, you know, and then it gets on your neighbor's land, all this stuff. Get a chair. I have a stool. That's not the point. The point is, like, how the fuck am I gonna do dishes in a... Okay, y'all have clearly never tried to sit while doing the dishes, because how? There's a cabinet. There's a cabinet where your legs need to go. I can't, like, my legs don't fold backwards when I'm sitting down. They're in front of my body. Kitchen hammock. Yeah, I sit while I'm cooking sometimes, but spread legs. Like, you spread your legs like this, you just press your crotch against the cabinet. I'm not flexible enough for that. What I have done before is I'll open the cabinets underneath and then let my knees kind of stick in. But also my kitchen is made for someone who's like 7 feet tall. I do not understand. So it just doesn't work. It's fucking annoying, actually. Kitchen islands with a sitting area. Yeah, that would be nice. We need to get some bonks in chat. Can we get some bonks in chat? Charlotte cannot contain herself and needs to be bonked. I really need like a comedic bonking. I need a thing that bonks and like makes a nice noise. Thank you, Verbose Penny. Welcome to the website. There's an emoji that's a bonk. Is that what it's called? It's just bonk? Yeah. Bonk. Shout out to EB the Purple for making those emojis. I am sorry, Dix is a subscriber-only emote. You have to get a tier 1 subscription at minimum in order to get the Dix emote. So sad. Yeah, I need one of the wacky hammers that squeak. Tarnation. Ugh. I have a blanket on my chair. I need to get off of my chair, I think. Alright, I'm gonna be ready to switch to Am I the A-hole in a second here. Ooh. We may or may not go all the way to 8 o'clock tonight. Typically this is a 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. stream, but we may or may not go all the way to the end. I haven't decided. Depends on how much time we take doing Reddit Am I the A-hole. Right. I love how many different channels there are, different subreddits there are on Reddit for various Am I the A-hole posting. This one is r/AITAH. And then this other one is r/Am I the asshole? Like all one word. And then there's, the popular one is probably AITA. Anyway, today we are going to talk about one of these posts because it was funny when I saw it on Facebook earlier. So here's this one. Am I the a-hole for explaining to my husband he's the reason we keep having daughters? This is a man who does not have a basic understanding of biology. How did your public school fail you that much? I don't know. Anyway, I, 30, female, have 2 daughters and am currently pregnant with my 3rd girl. We just found out this morning. On the drive to my husband's mother's house, he explained how he was a bit disappointed about having a girl. But then he said, I should have expected this because you have 3 sisters. Sir? I explained that me having 3 sisters have nothing to do with the gender of our child. He said, it's genetics and that I'm the reason for our daughters. I told him that's not how biology works. He said it is. I feel like I would have taken the opportunity to explain that, like how chromosomes work. Eggs pretty much exclusively have an X chromosome, and sperm can have either an X or a Y chromosome, which tends to correlate with what sex the baby is. Apparently, she did not explain this in detail to him. I'm not sure that he would have listened to her in the first place because he's already ignoring her. Get this man a Punnett Square stat, truly. He then went on to explain that his mom only has brothers, and his 2 oldest brothers both have 2 sons because his mom's side. I told him that doesn't make any sense because it would be the same for him then. He said no, because both of their wives have more brothers than sisters. Like he's still like hammering on this, it's the mom's part. He was getting frustrated, but I was just laughing at him. I explained that him and his oldest 2 brothers have different dads, but that out of his dad's 8 kids, 3 are boys and 5 are girls. The men determine the gender, or the sex, let's say. He said that's not true, because the kids his dad had with his mom are all boys. So he's saying like, oh yeah, it's my mom. My mom is the one who is the reason why we have the boys. He dropped it and said he'll ask his mom, who has a degree in biology. Men, listen to me. Stop discounting your wife's opinions just because she's a woman. Like, he's like, I'll ask my mom, who has a degree in biology. Like, I'm sorry. You don't know what the hell you're talking about in this instance. You don't know what the heck is going on. Yeah, he does not understand that his contribution to the situation is the one that can either be X or Y. Does not understand that. So they're on their way. They're having this discussion on the way to the in-laws' house. And they get there. So we get to his parents' house for brunch. And he asks his mom if I'm the reason we kept having girls. She told him bluntly that the men determines the gender. And it's actually not, it's not just a 50-50 chance. Like, a man could, have a family who is like, we all have boys. Like, we all consistently have boys, or we all consistently have girls. So his mom, like, how did he not know this anyway? Because the mom clearly is very aware of how this works. How did you have an entire adult son who has a 3rd child on the way, but does not know? Anyway, whatever. She then went on to explain that the more of one gender you have, the higher the chances that your next child is also going to be that gender. So he asked, is it likely that he'll have a boy? She told him that if he keeps trying, it might happen, statistically. He just walked to the car and said he's going for a drive. I then received a text from him saying that I didn't have to embarrass him like that. I was so confused. Am I the a-hole? The conversation between him and his wife happened in the car. So yeah, a huge not the a-hole for this woman. Obviously, like, listen, they don't need to have a baby boy because she already has one. Like, how are you going to be ignorant, ask your mom a question, and then she corrects you and educates you, and then you go, I just need to leave. Like, you embarrassed yourself by needing to leave. Like, it was, ignorance is whatever. Ignorance is fine. I get it. It's whatever. The fact that you got so upset that you were like, I'm gonna leave. He drove his wife to his parents' house and then left her there to go for a drive because he could not handle being corrected about something. And then he told his wife that she embarrassed him when he was the one that was ignorant and, like, kept insisting, even though, like, his wife corrected him, his mom corrected him. The mom didn't laugh at him. Like, the mom didn't make it into a huge big deal. So, yeah, it's crazy. Super crazy. Yeah, I think most people, when they get corrected on a fact, they just kind of go like, huh, that's wacky. I didn't know that. That's weird. NTA, you might give that man access to the internet so he can do some research. Jeez. Genetics are always a game of chance. For example, a biologist can give birth to an idiot. Oh no. Yeah, this person says he's such an idiot that he couldn't pull his phone out to Google it himself. Couldn't just Google it yourself. You got to. I'm gonna ask my mom. She's a biologist. This person says, your husband is the a-hole for blaming you for the gender of your kids regardless of biological facts. True, because that's the other thing. He's like, I'm tired of having girls. This is your fault. And then he finds out that it's his own balls that are the problem. Or, not really objectively a problem, but, like, you know how dads can be sometimes where they're like, I don't want to be around all these girls, all these women. Oh, I'm outnumbered by all these women. Or, they undervalue, like, when they find out that their kid's going to be a girl and they get, like, disappointed and upset. Why are you so tied up in the genitals of your baby? Any of their 3 kids who were born female could still end up being a boy. He's also an a-hole for being upset at getting a 3rd girl. If you don't want a girl, then don't have a kid. Truly, if you can't accept the possibility, especially if your first 2 kids are girls, if you're like, oh yeah, but it's like, do you just think that the universe owes you a boy? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Weird to blame her as though anyone can do it on purpose or something. Yeah, I mean, the implication is that there's something wrong with her reproductively, I guess. This guy becomes radically pro-trans because he was incapable of shooting a Y chromosome. True. This person says, please don't keep having kids just because he wants a boy. Only have more kids if you actually want to have another daughter, because chances are that's what you'll get. Exactly. My mom wanted a boy. She had 5 girls before she finally got the kid she actually wanted, and although she never said she didn't want us, she did make it very clear he was her favorite. Whatever her prince wanted, he got. Nothing was too good for him. I was lucky if I actually got dinner. I'm not saying he wouldn't love your girls if you had a boy, but don't have more kids just because he wants a boy. Yeah. Like, if you keep trying and having more girls, like, he's just gonna hate you more. And if you have one boy out of all this gaggle of kids, then he's gonna dote on that child and ignore the daughters. It's like, it's such a deeply misogynistic thing to be like, I'm so disappointed to have a girl child. these kind of parents do, like this kind of dad especially, they do kind of mistreat their kids. They do kind of go, oh, well, you're not the kid that I wanted. Oh, I'm disappointed in this kid. Oh, another girl. I was gonna say, I hope the current pregnancy ends up with a male baby who's a trans girl. That's the other thing too. You're putting all these like expectations on your kid. If you're like, oh my god, I just want a boy, I just want a boy, I just want a boy. Like, what if your kid is trans? Like, if you have a boy kid and then they decide to transition to be a trans woman, like, that kid is gonna feel so much pressure to live up to your standards. Whether they're trans or not, they're gonna feel all this pressure. And like, favoritism can harm relationships between siblings. See if there's any other comments that are good. Not the a-hole, but unfortunately you reproduced with a moron. Ugh. NTA, he went looking for a fight and blamed you for something completely out of your control, and now he's upset he got put in his place. Maybe he should go back to school instead of being mad his kids are not his preferred gender. Shake my head. Yeah, those TikToks are really uncomfortable. Seeing those TikToks during, like, there's a gender reveal party and the dad gets visibly upset when the reveal is pink. I think those videos are shared because it's like, oh, isn't this so funny? Ah ha ha. Look at his reaction. But it's a portend of doom to me. It comes across like, you know, he's gonna resent and treat his daughter badly. It makes me wonder how these men treat their wives. I mean, obviously in this situation, this man does not respect his wife. For sure. Like, why are you in a relationship with someone you don't respect? Why is this woman in a relationship with someone who doesn't respect her? Men not understanding the difference between I felt embarrassed and you embarrassed me. I mean, he couldn't tell his mom that she embarrassed him. He respects his mom on some level, but not his wife. Okay, there's one more Am I the A-hole? And then we might wrap up after that, because my jaw hurts. I'm honestly considering putting a hot pad against my face to try to relieve some of the tightness. I haven't actually read this one. Maybe I should read it before. This one was just like, it's popping off. It's hot on the website. I'm gonna drink some water while I read. Okay. Okay. This one reads, am I the a-hole for not letting my sister and her kids live in my house? I, 25F, am an electrician. Good respectable trade. You make good money doing that. I started my apprenticeship at 17 and was hired immediately by my sponsor after I received my license. The reason I chose a trade was that I grew up in a trailer with my mom and sister, and I have wanted to own a house ever since I can remember. And being in the trades gave me access to a stable job and access to more money sooner. My partner, D3ATH, Taya, is a plumber. Hell yeah, dude. The double tradesman thing, oof. This could go either way based on that title. I know, I love these ones that are like, you start it and you're like, I'm not sure which way this is gonna go. Or I love the ones where you start it and you're like, oh, this is obviously one way, and then it doesn't end up going that way. Pretty funny. Anyway, we've scrounged and saved, and in the end, we bought land and built a tiny house in the uptown area of our city. It's got 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. One of the bedrooms is our reptile room, since I keep snakes and Taya keeps bearded dragons. We are child-free and happy in our home. Yeah, I feel like a 2-bedroom house with 2 people in it and a bunch of reptiles, like, yeah, you're pretty much at capacity. Yeah, this is lesbian vibes for sure. My sister, Lucy, pseudonym, 34, female, is a waitress and has 3 kids. All 3 are male, ages 4, 3, and 2. Goodness, she popped them out right one after the other. Her husband just left her for a woman my age, so a woman who's like 25, and she's left without his income to raise all 3 kids on her own. Her husband bought out her half of the house during the divorce, and that left her and the kids living with my mom in the trailer. Yeah, that's tough. I can admit I didn't grow up in the safest of areas and was carrying a knife when I was a teenager because of the danger. Because of the safety issue, Lucy came to my partner and I and begged us to let her and her sons move in. She said we would have to get rid of our reptiles or keep them in our bedroom. Her sons could have the other bedroom, and she would sleep in our kitchen on an air mattress. I'm sorry. Do you seriously think that you're going to sleep in the kitchen on an air mattress? You think that I'm going to wake up? Like, listen, as an electrician, sometimes you got to get your ass up early in the morning. So what? Am I going to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and have to, like, be quiet and tiptoe around your ass while I'm making coffee? Like, no. Are you for? And also, sleeping on an air mattress, listen, I've done it. It only lasts about a week before you start to really seriously have back pain and be upset. It's not a good thing. Also, the sisters said nothing about paying us rent or helping around the house. She comes out and says, yeah, you're going to have to get rid of your reptiles or keep them in your bedroom, and then my sons can sleep in the other bedroom and I will sleep in the kitchen. Absolutely no comment about paying rent or helping. I told her no, because 2 toddlers and a little kid who's about to start kindergarten aren't suitable to be in our home, and we don't want too many people in our house. Yeah, in a 2-bedroom, let's go from having 2 people to having 6 people. 3 of whom are children. Yeah, that's the pet's home. You can't just kick them out of their space. Jeez. She said that we live in a better part of town with better schools and that she needed the help. I told her we didn't have the room and that I was sorry, but that I could hook her up with some journeymen I know and she could get started on an apprenticeship that pays better than her current job if she needed extra money. Listen, take that offer. If someone is like, I could hook you up with a trade job, and if you are in any capacity physically capable of doing it, that's the move. She then called my job and Taya's job, quote, dirty blue-collar trash, and left our home. She posted about how we wouldn't let her stay online, and now my relatives are messaging me about how could I let a single mother and 3 kids be homeless, and they're your blood, and you owe your sister better than that. I feel like a complete a-hole, even though Taya told me I have every right not to want them in our house. Am I the a-hole? Yo, that is such a clear, like this, the older sister is so entitled. You know, you popped out 3 kids with a man who did not have the commitment to stay in a relationship with you and help you raise your kids. I'm sure it's stressful to have 3 kids. But like, here's the thing about people like this. They're also going to start expecting you to do free childcare. Like, not only did she not offer to pay rent or offer to help around the house or on the land, but she's going to demand more and more. She's going to get a job, or maybe not. Like, maybe that's the whole thing, is like she doesn't want a job. Maybe she was a stay-at-home mom before and she wants to continue living the same lifestyle. But yeah, like, this is a person who's going to continue taking advantage of you. If you give this person an inch, they're going to take a mile. And then once they're living in your house, then you have to formally evict them in order to make them leave. Let me read through some comments and see if there's anything good. True. If your sister's ex bought out her half of the house, what did she do with that money? She should have gotten an apartment. OP says, I have no clue what she did with it. I didn't ask because money talk is a sore spot for both of us. So they already have a difficult relationship regarding money specifically. Yeah, the moment she says dirty blue collar trash, I'm like, bye, bitch. Right. Like, yeah, oh, my dirty blue collar job that bought me land on which I was then able to build a house. This is not cheap. Also, yeah, why don't the other family members take them in if they care so much? Like, okay, if it's like not a big deal to have 3 toddlers living in your house, then why don't you take them? Is it because you know she's entitled and that you're not going to get her out of your house once she starts living there? Ah, thank you so much, Jackie Sins. Oh, that's nice. I'll get around to that in a second. Thank you so much, though. I want to finish talking about the segment stuff, and then we'll do the dono goal. Thank you. Kids are basically animals. Like, they're not going to behave. And if you did move the reptiles into another room, how do you know that those kids are not going to get in there and, like, let one of your snakes out or, like, any number of things? 2-bedroom, 1 bath? Ugh, that's way too small. Okay, I'm reading more. Let's see. This alone is why it's an extra terrible idea, referring to we have money as a sore spot. You guys can't even have a conversation about money, yet she wants you to rearrange your life and home for her? Nope. I think it's a terrible idea for a whole host of reasons. It's not like she came to you with a plan of, hey, I have X dollars to purchase land and build tiny house. It will take 6 months' time. Is there any way we can live with you in the meantime? I will contribute XYZ in rent and utilities, and I will cook for everyone while I'm here. Like, you know, just like the basic conversation that you could have had. Like, after you call my extremely reputable and, like, lucrative job trash, I mean, you're lucky if I even talk to you anymore after that point. But I understand, like, sometimes we accept disrespect from people who we love and are close to us because, like, the alternative of, like, holding them accountable is just too difficult. Like, especially with a person like this. She's, like, she doesn't seem to get that she's entitled. She doesn't seem to care about the impact that her 3 children would have on OP and their partner. OP and her partner, I guess. Okay, here's one that the OP responded to. NTA, you should be so proud of the great life and the great job you have with Taya and your pets. Seriously, good for you. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way. I mean, I'm cheering you on. It was not an a-hole move of her to ask, but it sure was of her to insult your very respectable careers and ask you to get rid of your lovely pets. Very rude. She could have a respectable trade making a good deal of money, but she threw that in your face and insulted you on top of it. Also, if her husband bought her, why isn't she having a tiny house built? OP says, I did ask her that and told her I would do all of the installation work for free, and Taya offered to do her plumbing for free as well, and she turned us down. Bro, at that point, you literally only need to do the carpentry. Like, that's basically it. And, like, if you, for some reason, need to heat it, like, if you need gas run, you know, for whatever, like, are you serious? That is a bargain. Are you kidding me? That is, like, huge expense. Like, okay, not only is the labor, like, okay, I would do all of the installation work for free. Okay, maybe there would still be an expectation for OP's sister to buy the copper and everything. But still, like, an electrician, an apprentice electrician makes minimum $15 an hour. Like, and honestly, I think in places that are higher income, they probably start them off higher than that. It depends on whether you're a union or not, because in the union, it's kind of established everywhere to be the same. But, yeah, like, for them to offer, like, you have no idea how much money you're saving on labor. Like, that's one of the most expensive parts of any trade. Is like, yeah, the wood costs a certain amount of money, sure. The copper costs a certain amount of money, yes. But overwhelmingly, the most expensive part of trade labor is the labor itself. So they really put a lot out there. They offered a lot, and she snubbed it. She snubbed it. She doesn't think our house is satisfying and told us she wished we got a mortgage and bought a bigger one instead of building. It was an entire argument back when we bought materials and built it, and she and her ex were still married. So she was criticizing the decisions while before her husband even left her. No wonder he left you. You're sitting there like, oh, you should have gotten a bigger house. Like, bitch, you're not living in it. She planned to, maybe. Maybe she knew that their relationship was going to end, and she's like, well, you should get a bigger house because I plan to try to move in. Holy cow. The OP here is way more generous than I would have been with someone who has apparently historically... Like, if you were criticizing my decisions about building my own house, and you're like, well, it should be bigger. I don't like how small it is. Like, okay, I'm not doing you any favors. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore after that point. What a generous person. Yeah, she talked smack about your house, and now she wants to take it over and remove your pets. Exactly, she wanted you to have a bigger house because she was planning on mooching this whole time. Yeah, this person says, yeah, every single person who complained to you about you leaving a woman with 3 kids homeless, like, I'll let her know that your place is available. She's 34. She needs to figure things out. Yeah, she's got to be getting child support. What is she doing with all this money? Does she have a job? Yeah, OP. Okay, OP said the sister does have a job. Yeah, this person agrees with me. She will never leave. Like, if you get into this situation, you will have to legally, formally evict her to get her out. Agree with this person. If someone called my profession that paid for the lifestyle I'm living now a, quote, dirty blue-collar trash job, they can be homeless for all I care, family or not, NTA. No worries, Kitty Tick. I think we're running toward the end of this show anyway, because, like, yeah, my jaw really hurts on this side. Okay, I think that's all the interesting comments on this one. I don't know if all the posts on Reddit AITA are real. Probably some of them are copy pastas or people writing fiction. I saw one post that was like, my girlfriend writes fake stories on Reddit and then like lies to people in the comments about the situation because it's funny to her. So there are people who do that, who just put a fake post because they enjoy all the comments and the attention. But this one, I think, might have been a real one. It gives you a little bit of an insight, just a tiny bit of an insight into what's going on in people's minds. And like the entitlement that's on display. It's also wild how many Reddit am I the a-hole posts I see that are like, basically like this, you know, I work a really well-paying job, and so does my partner. And this is the issue that we're running into. It might be an issue in their relationship, or it might be an issue like with another family member, but it's quite strange to me. I feel like it's not as common as is represented on Reddit. This, like, we both have really great jobs and we're doing amazingly. Like, you know, we make collectively $400,000 a year, and we're having an argument about our spending money. Like, deeply unrelatable problems. Yeah, this lady has embraced the black sheep label. Black sheep of the family. Like, oh, well, you don't have kids. That means that I can force my kids on you. Goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to acknowledge Jackie Sin's donation. She says, I hope this reaches the flex goal. Not sure if it's currently 48 or 46. It's a little bit blurry on my end. Well, you did succeed in getting us to the dono goal. Thank you. And now I will debase myself for your viewing pleasure. Now that the chat's back. Okay. Ooh. So I did my first arms day back at the gym last week. And so this is, like, we probably aren't seeing any growth yet. I did not go back yet this week because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna, like, have any issues with my new tattoo. But I think probably tomorrow I'll go and do another arms day, and then I'll start doing legs. But arms are where it's really at. That's what the goal is. The goal is to have giant lats and shoulders and biceps. And I say giant. I'm probably never going to be, like, hugely giant, but I'm ready to bulk again. I'm ready to start putting on muscle weight. Like, I want to be dense. I want to be, like, heavy, but not like, yeah, not like big, huge. I just want to be like, there's a lot of density there, and, like, you can really see the definition. This is my good arm. It's so weird that, like, I'm right hand dominant, but my left arm is much more impressive on the flex, in my humble opinion. Yay! Yes, I'm exercising my right to bear arms. Like a damn American. I'll probably never be able to own a home at this rate. Yeah, it's impossible to tell what's going to happen with the economy moving forward. I mean, listen, so here's the deal. Sometime between now and 2100, the year 2100, approximately 5 billion people are going to die from climate change. So there's probably going to be, like, some empty houses. And who knows if there's going to be a functioning US government. So, yeah. Claim one. Anybody else just get a commercial interruption? Yep. Ads play on my content. That's how I make money. It's one of the ways I make money. I get something from it. I get more from it if you click the ad. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, if you click the ad, I get more money. There are technically royalties, like, for tax purposes. I think that it, like, any donations I get through Super Chat get added to my AdSense money, and it, like, tax-wise, it counts as royalties, which is interesting. I have YouTube Premium, so I kind of always forget about ads. I've just been paying for YouTube Premium for years. I wish that they gave it to me for free. I feel like they should. Like, why don't you just give me YouTube Premium for free? But it's whatever. I can write it off at least partially as a work expense because if we watch videos, and we watch videos on stream and like react to them, and obviously I don't want ads to play, so it's at least partially tax deductible. This has been a nice, fun show. This has been an enjoyable show, and it's been bumping. I appreciate that there's so many people still in here chilling with us. We're at like the 3-hour mark of the stream. And we made it to the dono goal. Like, that's hot. I will say YouTube chats come in next month, whereas like direct donations through the website come through like basically the next day. So, and also YouTube takes like 30% of your money. So it is technically a little bit better to donate through the website, but I am super deeply appreciative in any case. But like if you donate $100 to me through a super chat, Google is going to take $30 of that, and I only see $70 of it, which is, it feels really egregious. Because on my website, it's like the gift donations only take the PayPal fees. What is the de facto term for a non-binary monarch, ruler, overlord? Yeah, I mean like liege, or I guess you could just say monarch. To be clear also, demonetized doesn't mean zero monetization. Demonetized with the yellow symbol means like limited ads run on it. So for example, if a company doesn't want their ads running against political content, then if my video gets flagged as having certain kind of political content, then that particular company's ads might not run, but I might still get like a Ben Shapiro ad or something like that, you know? I feel like YouTube should only take a cut once you go over a certain rate. Taking $30 out of 100 is stingy AF. Listen, I actually had super chats disabled for a very long time because of that. I was like, but I think that, you know, there are probably people who will donate through YouTube who will not go to my website. So I think I was just kind of cutting off a potential revenue source. But yeah. Yeah, thanks, Charlotte. And you're welcome. Supreme Leader. Yeah, I know. Ben Shapipu. Shapipu. Oh, God. My elbow. An NB monarch is obviously called an emperor. True. That's a good pun. Appreciate that. Yeah, Ben Shapiro and PragerU. Shapoopoo. Shapeepee. Emperor. Yeah, like NB. Like NB and Emperor fused into one. And just a little reminder also, if you're interested, so I post some free content on my Patreon, but also if you just sub for $1 a month, you can see most of the stuff that I post on there. Like, I post vlogs for $3 and up, but everything else on there is either free or just $1 a month. So, like, hey, if you want to see my new tattoo and the imperious look that I'm giving the camera, $1. All right, y'all, my jaw hurts, so I'm going to try to take care of that. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, having a good time. It's been a chill day, and we've got a couple of segments that are fun that I can post on the channel. And yeah, I am planning to see you all on Sunday. Hopefully nothing crazy happens between now and then, but if something crazy does happen, then hey, that gives us more content. All right. Thank you for hanging out. Have a good rest of your night.